Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beyond Wednesdays YouTube channel, your home for all things comics, collectibles, and pop culture. Today we're diving into a very special comic book, Spider-Man #1 by Todd McFarlane, but not just any version of that comic. This one was signed by McFarlane when the comic first hit the shelves at the store co-owned by Todd himself along with his brother-in-law, called The Spider's Web in Puyallup, Washington. A special event was put on for the release of this issue. In the present time, this rare book has been all but forgotten by the hobby, for the most part. So let's talk about why this isn't just a comic book, but a true piece of comic book history in my opinion. Released in August of 1990, Spider-Man #1 was a game changer for Marvel and the comic book industry. Written and drawn by Todd McFarlane, it marked his debut as both a writer and artist for a major Marvel series. The book's unique art style and dynamic storytelling immediately captivated readers. And let's not forget, it launched during the height of the 1990s comic book boom, with collectors lining up to grab multiple copies of its different versions. It had multiple printings, various cover variants, and became a cornerstone of the 90s collecting culture. For many of us, this comic represents the start of a lifelong passion for this hobby.
When Todd's run of Spider-Man hit, the reaction was pretty spectacular.
And that thing just stood out from a mile away on the shelves.
First issue of Todd's Spider-Man series sold 2.5 million copies. At that point, it was the biggest selling comic ever.
Now imagine being at the Spider's Web in Puyallup the day the Spider-Man #1 launched. Or, if you were lucky enough, you got to catch the advertisement in Comic Book Buyer's Guide number 851 for a chance to buy one of these special signed copies. As soon as you got it, you probably noticed three things. One, Todd's decision to sign on Spider-Man's right knee, in which he said he would never sign there again, a unique touch that collectors still rave about today. Each copy came with a printed certificate of authenticity from the Spider's Web, telling them about the signature and the distinctive red stamp on the back of the book, adding a layer of uniqueness and provenance that collectors treasure. This wasn't just a signing event, it was a moment where fans got to connect with one of the biggest names in comics, with a character that many think McFarlane was born to draw, finally turning out to be one of the highest selling comics of all time. This signed edition isn't just a collectible, it's a tangible piece of that moment in time. Think about it. Todd McFarlane, who was redefining Spider-Man and pushing the boundaries of what superhero comics could look like, personally signed this copy at the comic shop he co-owned the week of release. His choice to sign on Spider-Man's right knee and never sign there again further highlights his attention to detail in a collector-driven hobby, adding a unique personal touch that resonates with these collectors today. The addition of the unique Spiderweb stamp and the old-school certificate of authenticity makes it a historical artifact from one of the most significant periods in comic book history. And to me, it's more than just a variant or a special edition. Fast forward 20 years. Todd has built an empire and spends most of his time running McFarlane Toys.
Here's our 1/6 scale here, right? So here's another Spider-Man. This is based on the cover to issue 301. Another one that is based on my artwork. And so again, part of the fun here is basically McFarlane doing McFarlane at McFarlane Toys.
Spider's Web is no longer operating, unfortunately, and most collectors have never even heard of this amazing book. If you look for more information on the net, you'll see a ton of people asking if the signature is even real. It's an early version of Todd's signature, and some people don't even know who Sig it is when they first see it. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those people. I found my first copy digging through dollar bins at Jesse James Comics in Phoenix, Arizona. I noticed the scribble on the right knee and showed my friend while making fun of how bad the fake was. But then I decided to take it out of the bag and a folded piece of paper fell out. Told me to look on the back for a red spiderweb stamp and where this book got signed and why. I couldn't believe it. Todd signed multiple versions of Spider-Man #1 at the event. The regular cover, both the silver and purple webbed variants, as well as the silver cover. I imagine he signed a crap ton of these books, but the lack of hype and knowledge around this book today also makes me imagine that there aren't many still around. There is one major problem though. There is hardly any information out there about this book and the event. Most of what I do know, I'm not sure 100% because of how little info there is. Shout out to the Toy Box blog for being one of the only websites, other than forums, to talk about this book and event. Todd, if you see this, give us some details on it. Wishful thinking, I know. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Beyond Wednesdays for more amazing comic book and collectibles content.